First off, we have Francesca. Come on, friends. Do you know where your seat is? Alright, cool. Alright, next up we have Katina. Please come in front. And Susie. Where's Susie? Susie, come on front. Alright, last but not least, our moderator for the evening. Please welcome Alex. Take it away.
Alright, hi guys, thank you for coming. So, as Arif might have mentioned to you guys earlier, today what we're here to do is that we are paying homage to our favorite local enterprise heroines. However, it isn't about the battle of the sexes here today, guys. We're not like picking sides and say like girls are better than boys, or something between those lines. But it's more about celebrating local successful entrepreneurs whose story inspire and encourage more Malaysians to take up entrepreneurship as a career path. And joining me today are the lovely ladies from Cloth, Design Nation, and GoGet. So, alright, so before we begin today's panel, I'd like to offer some insights to you guys about the topic here today. So, again, I would like to start with this quote, which is, so often people work hard at the wrong thing. So, working on the right thing is probably more important than working hard. What do you guys think about that? Like, any thoughts? Yes, no? Alright, so when it comes to today's topic, it's quite important that we address that because these successful entrepreneurs that we see in front of us, they previously all had different jobs. They were doing completely different things before they started their own journey as an entrepreneur. And that is what we are here to find out today. So again, I just want to reiterate that it's not about the battle of the sexes, you guys. It's not, don't get us wrong. Big X over there. So it's more about how men and women in the entrepreneurial space can work together and improve the space. So some statistics that I'd like to show you guys. In the 2014 Malaysian population consensus, the male population stands at 15.5 million people, whereas the female population stands at 15.1. So we are almost equal in terms of population size. There's almost like a 1-to-1 ratio over there. However, in the workforce, on the other hand, in this consensus released in 2011, women only make up 46% of the workforce and men make up the remaining 57%. So that was statistics from 4 years ago. 4 years ago, yeah. So moving forward 4 years from now, where have we gotten since? So in a recent article published by EDGI, the 2015 Hays Asia Salary Guide indicates that there are 34% in management positions in Malaysia which are being held by women, which is up from last year, which is at 29%. Silent your phones, you guys. Alright, so what the article was trying to highlight was that there are more women in management positions right now, and it's evident in this entrepreneurial space because we see Cheryl from Magic who's sitting in space. But the thing that we're going to find out here today, is that enough? Are we seeing enough women entrepreneurs in this local ecosystem? And what else can we do to improve that? So this is why we have the lovely ladies here to help us answer that question. And before we start, I would want to introduce the panelists to you guys again. So the first panelist, Francesca, starts GoGet.my, and she's actually a Northwestern University alumni and a former Boston Consulting Group consultant. So she started GoGet as a platform to solve people's problems by getting things done. To talk a little bit more about GoGet, please give it up for Francesca.
Okay, great. I don't think I need this, right? Yeah, okay, great. Hi everyone, my name is Francesca, and I run GoGet, which is a marketplace for errands and deliveries. So this is where we help busy people or businesses outsource their to-do lists, such as pick up my inventory, send my products out, or individuals that says pick up my groceries and drop off my laundry, right? To a trusted person in the community whom we vet and screen, and then they, in essence, can give out their free time to earn money at the same time. So it's actually an age-old idea. What we've just done is we've just put it into a technology side, and we've just connected people through that small little computer in your pocket, which is called a phone, right? So we started GoGet actually in June 2014, and it was actually something that came up from a small pilot in Bangsa. But what I think I wouldn't waste your time on is really me talking out. What we did is we had a video and we interviewed our users on our platform. And so to give you some real hand, I guess, taste of what we do, I'll just play a video for you, and we interview one, which is a frequent business user that uses us, and two, a student who uses us to earn money at the same time. Basically a marketplace for errands and deliveries, where busy people get to outsource their to-do list to a free, willing, and able person around the community. So in this video, we interviewed a poster and a go-getter who have used GoGet.live to give you a sense of how it feels to be part of the community.
GoGet kind of saved Ditch by food delivery. It was so easy because they had the app, so I could just put everything on the application, post a job, and then someone would pick it up, and then there was constant communication throughout. A lifesaver! Literally, you guys saved my life. You saved a huge portion of these small businesses who maybe don't have the capacity to do everything on their own. And you provide that service with a smile and with really good client care. They're super awesome. Literally anything you need, they can go get it. Go get it done.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm 23. I'm a student at college, and I'm a parent. It's also a platform to connect people and also provide opportunities to people like students like me to have an opportunity to earn a little bit of money. It's a big community, and it's like a huge family. It's also an opportunity for students mostly because students have a lot of break time and so on. So during their break time, they can have time to actually help out people as well, and they can earn a little bit of pocket money. It's really bringing the strangers together. We don't talk to strangers, we don't share things to a stranger, we don't even say hi to a stranger, but through GoGet, we need to call the strangers, which is super friendly. It really connects people, and they will say something, they will even teach you something that you don't really know, you really understand. If I ask you what is dishwasher sauce, you don't probably know, but through GoGet, I know what is this. Looking for what is it, dishwasher sauce for one of the posters. I have a really hard time to look for that, but I still managed to find it, and it's really it's a satisfaction for me, regardless of the tip. One, earn money. Two, helping people out. Three, it's just fun. So I like to help out people, and if I'm somewhere around and people need me, so why not?
So just to quickly wrap up, because I'm not going to spend much time. So it's exactly that. So we are a platform where we connect people. The unique thing about us is that we have grown a platform where both our go-getters and posters almost can become friends. Because the average Joe is a go-getter and the average Joe is a poster. So it's really a community. So anyone can actually apply as long as you just meet us, we screen you, we verify you, and you can join the community. So I guess I'll leave it at that, and then we can go into questions later.
All right, thank you so much, Francesca. So up next, I'd like to introduce our next panelist. So she believes life is what you make out of it. One of her first passions is the world of business, having been exposed to it since she was a child. With a natural curiosity, she always finds herself wondering about the business model and operations of any new business she comes across. So please give it up for Cartina from Design Nation.
Hi, hello. So I'm Cartina from Design Nation, so I'm the business director there. And Design Nation, I'll just very quickly run you guys through. Design Nation is a platform that supports local independent designers by helping them market and sell their products. So what we do is we bring the designers in and their products, and we market them online on our website, designnation.co, and as well as at our store in Publica here, and we also do it directly through to any potential buyers, so interior design firms, for example, for the furniture and home decor, designers, for example. And when we say independent designers, what we mean is actually just anyone who wants to create a line of product, a line of products of their own branding, their own brand, their own collections, and what Michelle, my business partner, started this September last year, and I joined her in November, and we funded this through our own personal savings, and fortunately enough, we have managed to survive until now. Which is, well, yeah, it's a big deal. And the reason Design Nation was started was actually due to, out of frustration, because we felt that there were a lot of wasted design talents, actually, particularly in Malaysia, because all the design graduates that were coming out were going into corporate jobs or were, changing and moving into a different industry completely. And the main reason for that, we felt, was because there was no avenue. There wasn't any avenue for people who wanted to create their own products to test their ideas, test their designs, as well as there's no place to showcase their products and get feedback. So that's why we started Design Nation as a platform. Also, right, okay, one important thing we want to sort of highlight is that a designer isn't just someone who has a design degree or has the title design in their job title. A designer can be anyone, just a mom or dad, a child, or anyone who has sort of solutions and ideas for a problem. I don't know, crutches that can hold a drink or take plates, that'd be pretty helpful. Non-leaking pots, teapots, and stuff like that. So right now we're working with 14 designers. We're showcasing their products and selling them online at the store. We hope to bring a lot more designers to join us, and especially the ones within prototype stage, so that we can help them bring their products to market, help them brand as well, if possible. And we hope that you also support local talent. That's right. Okay, thank you. That's me.
All right, thank you so much for that, Kartina. So, last but not least, I'd like to introduce you guys to Nick Susila, Nick Hassan, or also known as Susie. So, just like Superwoman or Catwoman, if you prefer, Susie has a day job as the Assistant General Manager, Business Development and Branding for the Malaysian Reserve and International New York Times newspaper. Hungry for more, Susie is also one of the partners for Cloth Malaysia Syndrome Berhad, together with her other partners who are all ladies aged 36 this year. To say more about Cloth, please give a very warm welcome to Susie.
So everyone know my age by now, yeah? It's on display, never mind. We live Google era, right? You want to find out something, just Google, right? Okay, before I start, I just want to know, out of my own curiosity, how many of you guys here are actually an employee? 9 to 6, someone else is paying your salary. Raise your hands. How many of you guys are full-time entrepreneurs? Raise your hands. Alright, so a lot of you guys, so I'm just trying to understand who I'm talking to, basically. Okay, how many of you guys are like me, a mulai 2 jobs at one time? Okay, I have friends here. Okay, I don't feel awkward anymore. Okay. Hi, my name is Susie, as mentioned by Alex just now. Let me introduce myself. So there's 2 sides of me, right? I am a full-time employee. I'm the head of brand and business development for the Malaysia Reserve and International New York Times for the Malaysian region. At the same time, I'm also a business owner together with my other 3 partners. One of them is here, Nurul, whereby our company name is Cloth Malaysia, spelled as KLOTH. It's simply because just to justify, we are in the space of cloth predominantly, and KL means Kuala Lumpur. Okay, let me just proceed further, a very quick one. So basically, that's our company logo. That's our company logo, and O signifies environmental friendly, right? That's the globally understood icon there. So let me just go through a very, very fast glance through. So our company was incorporated 11, 12, 13, right? That was like 1.5 years ago, so to speak, and then it's 100% moving to our own company. And who we are at first when we started the business is basically we are the exclusive sales and marketing agent for Waste2Wear. So Waste2Wear is basically, what is Waste2Wear? Waste2Wear is basically a textile products made of post-consumer plastic bottle. Alright, so what you can see from here is basically it's upcycling. You can transform that into high quality textiles. So what our company mission is as simple as, you know, on a smaller scope is basically now we are in the space of transforming the plastic bottles into fabric. But on the bigger picture, who we want to be is basically in the space of waste management. In fact, a lot of things that you see around you can be transformed into innovative products. I don't want to go through this too long, but put it in a nutshell, basically the people who we work for is basically, we want to have a network of the green technology and people who can create a green society in Malaysia, basically, right? So this is in a nutshell what we do. This is represented, so in the space of innovations and waste management, like I mentioned just now, a lot of things around you is actually can be transformed into usable products and you can turn it around into revenue as well, right? So, okay, I don't want to go. Anyone is interested to find out how plastic bottles can be transformed into this? Yes. Okay, before I proceed, have you heard about this before? No. Are you serious? Okay, anyway, this is nothing new basically. If you are familiar with Nike and a lot of other big brands, right? For instance, I'll give an example, Daihatsu for that matter, they manufacture cars, your car seats is using this plastic bottle. Okay, how it's made is basically number one. This is a frequently asked question, right? So how do you guys do it? Whose IP is this? The answer is very simple. You can buy the machine. The machine is basically an invention by the Germans, but naturally what happens is that the Japanese and the Chinese as well, they fabricated the machine and become theirs as well. So if you have money, a range of $5 million ringgit to 15 million, you can choose the most expensive German technology, right? The sorting machine, what happens is that, right? So every country you have, in Malaysia itself, you have 3 waste management companies that takes your trash and they sort it out. In Petani Jaya, Kuala Lumpur, is Alam Flora, right? What happens is that they sort it out according to the trash type, which is the plastic. What happens after that is that, do you know that once you collect all these bottles all together, okay, you compress it, and do you know that you can sell it to China and you get $1,000 for per ton? You know that's money again for you, right? So what happens is that after that it's sent to China because China is a big market for transformation, right? So they transform that, you put it in a sorting machine and then it's going to be melted into particles and they put some soda acid, blah, 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 blah. What happens by the end of the day is that, you know, this is made from PET. PET is basically of the same material with your thread. So you pull it out and then you put color in it, so that's your thread and you weave it. So it's as simple as that. It's just that it's something that which is not big in Malaysia yet. So this is a composition of our company, and then this is a management team. So in our management team now, when we first started at 11, 12, 13, there was only one person that was full-time, which is my partner here, Nurul, who is here. And the 3 other partners of mine, who are my classmates since I was 18 years old. I'm a pure accounting student. There's something that I want to discuss about as well. I'm a pure accounting student, not by choice, because as a Malaysian government, you're a scholar, you're only given 3 options, right? You can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, or you can be an accountant. So I chose an accountant. So I don't like blood, I don't like going to offshore, so yeah, there's easier way out, right? Well, anyway, introducing my partners, right? Without them, right? It's not a team, basically. Sarah is an accountant. She just quit her job 2 months ago. She's an accountant for TM. Now she's full-time as well, all right? There's Fatih, my partner Fatih. She's a moonlighting just like me, but what's special about her is that she owns her own company, secretarial firm and audit firm as well. She's still practicing that. She has her own. Myself, I'm a moonlighting as well. As mentioned just now, I've been attached to various media companies. I've been in TV industry for the past, I was in TV industry for 6.5 years. I left the TV industry. I've been print and digital. So that's Nurul, the full-time. She left the shipbuilding industry, and now she's full-time in this as well. All right, so moving forward. Okay, this is the cloth that, you know. These are some of the things that, you know what, around the world, a lot of school uniforms and a lot of others is made from plastic bottle. Yep, this these are the brands that we make, but in Malaysia particularly, I have two B2B clients. Fingers crossed, I found out and agreed that Malaysia is our major B2B clients. Okay, I don't know if I can skip this. So these are summer activities which I'm going to discuss later as we move along. So basically, it's not an easy job, quite honestly, being an employee for the past so many years. You know my age by now, so I can tell you something. Being an employee, you can tie chi to other departments, right? Especially when you head department, you know, everything that you do is segregated. If you're in charge of business development and branding, so sales is not your problem. If you're a sales department, finance is not your problem. So there's a lot of this, so I just want to go through. So this is some of the activation that we do, right? And then I just have to explain one thing here. Wait. Is it here? Is it not here? The evolution, okay. The scarf that I'm wearing now is violet, right? This is a scarf, a product that is made from post-consumer plastic bottle. This is an idea that my partners and I, we invented this, okay? And then we sent our ideation to our principal office in Shanghai. It's a Dutch-owned company, because we thought that in order for us to start a business, right, so we need to have something. Like, I don't believe in like meeting my clients and then by the end of the day, I'm bringing some cross watches and please buy. I don't believe in that. So what happens is that my partners and I, we invented this project called the Green Hijab, whereby it's packaged in an end-to-end eco-friendly box, whereby in the box there's three shawls. So altogether, one is blue, one is green, and one is violet, whereby the color is determined by the Pantone color announced by the Spring Summer collection last year. And then we've produced around a few thousand boxes, quite honestly, and we have, I would say 95% is sold out until now. And then predominantly coming from our B2B clients and also B2C clients. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Susie. FYI disclaimer that 36 was in part of our email convo. So, you know, I didn't mean to leak it by accidentally. Alright, so let's get down to business right now. So, the first question I've got for you guys is that it's really interesting to see that all you guys come from different backgrounds. For example, Susie is doing some, she's moonlighting right now, Francesca used to be with Boston Consulting Group, and Cartina has some experience in startups. So my question for you guys is that, what was the eureka moment that prompted you guys to start your entrepreneurial journey right now? And perhaps, Francesca, would you like to begin?
Sure. Hello. Great. So this is an interesting question because a lot of people do ask why I moved from consulting, which does have a very good pay, to a startup life. What I would say is also, the misconception is, I did not wake up and suddenly go, Eureka, I am going to quit my job, right? Yeah, it's not that easy in real life, and it doesn't happen like that, in my opinion. I'm not sure about you two, but for me, it was very, it was actually the opposite. So a lot of people think, oh, you're so brave, you just went off and just quit your job. But what I would say is that a lot of us are actually quite just calculative and risk averse, but you just logically break it down, right? So for me, the reason why I eventually decided to quit was because I sat down one day and I said, well, what does it take for me to leave my job? Right? What do I need to see for me to say, I think this is enough data points for me to take that risk, right? Very consultant-like, I probably do sound like a consultant, this is horrible, but so I took leave from BCG and I decided to test my idea. And when I tested the idea, I saw the results, and then and as long as it was enough for me, then it would just happen, right? So we tested out in June, and we had 100 signups in a week, and then we finished doing 100 jobs, which were rated all 5 stars. So when I saw that, I had 3 things I needed to prove. One, do people even want to outsource anything, right? Do they need helpers? And if I was able to get signups and they were able to post up jobs, that was a good sign. The other one was like, well, do they even want to pay for this kind of service, right? The average tip was coming in at that early stage was about just 10 ringgit. Now it's about 20 to 25 ringgit per job, right? But for me, it was like, wow, so people are paying for this, right? And the last one is, well, can we do it well? And the fact that we got 5 star out of 5 was really good. So it was first seeing those results that made me more comfortable to take that leap. And then after that, it was really just the wind that blows you, right? So the moment you start executing and the moment you start moving, you meet people, you talk to people, meetings form, then from meetings, outcomes come through. And then from outcomes, there are even more meetings that go on, and there's a momentum, right? And as I sat there and I saw that the momentum was going faster and faster, faster than I could even run when I wish I had 48 hours in a day, for instance. That's a huge sign, right? So I think it was these gradual moments that really caused me to say, I'm gonna quit. But it wasn't like a random second and when one day I woke up and I said, I'm gonna quit my job. You know, it was a gradual process. Yeah.
Sorry, so I just wanted to add on to what you said about risk. It's quite interesting is that, you know, entrepreneurs don't love taking risks, they just take calculated risks. And I think that's very important to remember. So my personal experience, I graduated from uni and then I stumbled upon a startup. I did an internship with them. It was a technology startup and my background was economics. So I knew not much about technology. I was afraid of it because you don't know much about it. What can you do at a technology startup? But fortunately the startup was very successful and the founder was a very, very smart guy. And he was my mentor throughout my time there. And one of the things, he taught me many, many things. One of the things that I learned from him was that you don't have to be any age to be an entrepreneur, because he was 27 when I joined the startup, and it was already making millions in revenue per year. It went on to sell to Quantcast, if any of you know about Quantcast. So very, very successful startup. And it was seeing someone else do it, especially someone that I was in close contact with, someone who's young, do it, that I thought, okay, you know what, actually I can probably do this myself as well. My parents were entrepreneurs, always wanted to do it, to do something, to start something, build something. And there were times when he asked me, like, what do you want to do, Kartina? And I said, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start something. And he would be like, so well then what are you doing here? Why are you doing a job? Why are you not out there starting a company if that's what you want to do? And I think it was all encouragement, and I think it's seeing someone else be able to do it, that was what I think encouraged me to step out and do my own startup. That's part of it, yeah.
For me, I'm still an employee, so I don't know how to answer that question. Maybe we need to edit it a bit. Okay, but anyway, as I mentioned just now, I'm a pure accounting student, and my first job I was attached to Ernst & Young Chartered Accountants. I was an external auditor for 2 miserable years. Yes. Every month there'll be a ritual where I will cry because it's either or. My clients will scold me or my seniors will scold me. So there was a point that I made jokes to my friend. I said, I feel like going to the labor office is because I don't know who to scold, right? Because you get left, right, and up, down. So what happens is that after that I was an analyst for a stockbroking firm that was only for 1 year. And then after that I went through a breakthrough and I started working for the media company. Now it's called Media Prima Berhad. So at that time in 2006, what happened is that this consolidation of all NTV7, TV3, blah, 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 blah. So I was part at the CEO's office of NTV7 at first. So when I started from accounting, pure accounting, calculating people's money every day, I got miserable because I know how much I was paid versus how much the remuneration salaries from Malaysian Airlines was my client, to MBF, I can name you a lot. And Ernst & Young Chartered Accountants have the biggest clients, right? If not PricewaterhouseCoopers. So from that, and then when I started the media industry, being in the CEO's office, this is the truth. You meet from politicians to flood victims to everything, right? So that was when you network with people. Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. So you learn along the way, you learn how people make money, how people survive. So I think that was when I grew up and I told myself, you know what, enough of this depression, one day I'm going to be an entrepreneur. However, it did not start until in 2013 when one of my partners was also my best friend, Sarah. She's a practicing accountant. She said, I don't want to be an accountant anymore, it's boring. So, and then I said to her, I have a solution for you because my job in the Malaysia Reserve and International New York Times, funny enough, one of my jobs is to attend events and conferences. And one of the conferences that the Malaysia Reserve was to be a partner was the Global Marketing Summit, whereby the patron was the very, very popular marketing guru, Dr. Philip Kotler. So we went, so she was my other half, yeah, I gave my media pass to her. And then So I was smoking, no secret about that. So I was smoking outside. So I was smoking, and as I was looking for me, and she couldn't find me. So when I was smoking, I was approached by a guy, and he introduced himself as Tom. He said, blah, 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 and then he was like, so I asked him, what do you for a living? He said, oh yeah, I'm in the business of plastic bottles. So I said, are you serious? I said, yes, I'm serious. I touched his shirt, and then I fell in love with it. And then suddenly came this lady, a Dutch lady, she came like, oh yeah, I'm the founder of Wish2Wear. And like then came Sarah, and then after that Sarah said, Susie, you know what? I want to do this in Malaysia. I said, are you serious, or are you going through your early midlife crisis? I'm serious. So what happens is that at that time, I did not decide to be an entrepreneur yet, because I wasn't sure, right? Because until now, I have a comfortable job. So I met Moni the very next day, said, I'm representing my friend anyway, she's at work, but blah, 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 blah. What if I want to become an exclusive trade and marketing agent in Malaysia? At the same time, I want to create some innovations product, the product that Malaysians can understand, blah, blah, blah. So, and then after that, yeah. A month later, so we have not registered our business, so what happens is that I told Sarah, you know what, come to think of it, I want to be your partner. So to answer your question, I got myself into this is because of my friends who influence. After that, I studied research through about the brand, the potential, what is Malaysia standing in the space of green technology moving forward. So that was when I decided to do that. That's Feet.
Alright, thank you for that. So for my second question for you guys, from the time you guys started until now, have you guys seen an increase in women becoming entrepreneurs? And if so, what did you think helped spur that movement? Perhaps Kartina, you would like to start?
Actually, I got this. No, okay, I got this. So, I don't know if I see more personally, but I think there are a lot more success stories out there in terms of women entrepreneurs. So you see a lot of that. I think especially, I don't know if I'm a little bit more exposed to Western media and Western sort of start news, but you see a lot more like it's a lady who did Spanx. Does anybody know? Yeah. And then as well as a recent very famous one, I think was what's her name? Something Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes from, yeah, so I think there's a lot more success stories out there. People are writing a lot more, especially these sort of young self-made millionaires or self-made millionaires. But whether there are more women entrepreneurs out there, I don't think I know. Sorry. Any idea?
Sure. Okay, so my take on that question is actually, well, the different segments of startups, or because we just call it being an entrepreneur is you start your own business, right? And I would say, as GoGet, we interact with a lot of people who start their own business because they use GoGet to deliver their items, right? And then I would say actually I see a lot of females starting home businesses. I see a lot of females doing baked goods from their kitchen, because now you can take a photo of your baked goods, put it on Instagram, and that's your storefront. Like, you don't need to invest in anything except just like ingredients to make your cake, and then it can actually get delivered, and that's like your business. So I would say like technology has definitely enabled not just females, but actually anyone to really make specific, to really sell and start up. But specifically, I guess like home bakers is a little bit more female oriented, so you can see an increase in that. Right, you can see an increase in a lot of cafes around KL. I'm sure a lot of you guys 10 years ago did not have those indie cafes, right? In KL, we used to go mama and we used to order coffee, right? And it used to be 1 ringgit, right? Coffee is like 10 ringgit now, which is crazy, but let's just move on. But yeah, so those cafes, same thing as well, right? A lot of those have spurred out. I do see females who own cafes. I see that too. So I would say that whether it's technology or just a more connected world has allowed people to express themselves through building things, and that's a really good sign, whether you're female or not. In terms of technology startup space though, I would say it's a little bit more male dominant, purely because I don't know whether, has anyone here studied computer science as a degree? Okay, never mind. Oh, yeah, but chances are you're a male, which you are, right? Okay, sorry, but the average is the computer science ones are majority male, at least in like most of the classes that I always ask people. And so naturally, it's already a bias in the technology startup side. So I won't speak to the other types of startup verticals because I'm sure they're probably more well versed there. But if you also see the people who have IPO'd, if you see the people who have been bought out, or the people who have raised a lot of funds, in Malaysia, our stories have been so male-dominated. And I think to look at this is you just have to make sure you don't look at a current time statically. I think as a society, we always grow through time, right? And we're evolving and we're progressing. And the key thing is, are we progressing and going towards the right direction? And I do think so. We do have startups now with females. We have Duriana, who's also run by a female. And in startup events now, I see more females. My startup actually is run by females. So in my office, I have four girls in the office running the operations team. The tech side is male, but the operations is female, right? So I do see it, and it's a good sign to have a balance.
I do know a lot of startup companies run by women. I do know a lot. However, most are centered into fashion, predominantly scarves. Back then, people hijabs in particular, because back then people don't really wear hijab. Yeah, I happen to know a lot of online hijab entrepreneurs because for your information, hijab itself is a $2 billion industry in Malaysia, yeah, FYI. So so that's the growth of it. If you talk about other segments, technology, zilch, I don't know any. If you talk about events, yes, there's a proliferating number of women in that segment. Any more startups, predominantly men, is because, as you know, you announced my age at 36, right? A lot of them have kids. So in order for you to start up at 36, it's like, usually people start at 20-something, your early 20s, is because you're not married, you have more time, blah, 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 so you don't have commitment. In your 30s, you are in between, right? So I don't know many, but so that's my answer. I don't know many, especially tech, zilch, the answer. Most of the SMEs that I know, again, like I told you, is more into fashion, especially in the space of the 2 billion ringgit business, which is the hijab. Yep.
Alright. Testing. Alright, thank you for that. So my next question for you guys is, in relation to your current businesses, was there something that you guys could have done differently? What would it be, and how did you think it would change the course of your business right now? Perhaps Francesca, you'd like to start.
So I guess the question would probably, for me, I would read that as, well, what would I improve on if I could look back? I think there's always room to improve on. The biggest thing that I would change probably is to move faster. In terms of everything, right? So a lot of people they wait to make their product beautiful and then they release it, right? So, and I would say the biggest thing about products and the biggest thing about pushing it out is, especially for technology, because I can change technology immediately. Maybe for scarves, you can't really change scarves that fast. But like for technology, one day I can put a button that's called next, and the next day I can put a button that's called submit, and I can just improve it instantly, right? So the key thing about technology is that you should actually just push your product out and iterate fast and make it better. Because the more you're out in the market, the more your product will be refined to how consumers want, rather than how you thought in your lovely ivory tower the product should be, right? So when I started, I think we took 6 months in production to actually develop our product, and a few moments of conceptualization. I would rather have done 3 months of product development and then pushed out and made a better product, because, for instance, like we developed a feature in our app that said like, okay, when someone claims a job, they're a go-getter, the other person should approve, right? Because it makes sense, because I was like, Malaysians, you want to instill a trust, so you say like you're the last level of trust, so you can approve the go-getter that you get. But then when we rolled out, we found that the huge issue about operations was everyone was saying, hey Brand, like I've not been approved yet, can you like call the post and make sure you approve me? The other side was like, I don't have time to approve the go-getter, can you just approve it for me? And I'm like, this was built, I thought, for you guys, but I guess they didn't want it. They were like, it's fine, majority of your go-getters have 5 stars. I need the job done really quickly, so can you just like push it through? So we removed the feature. So that to me was like, why did we build that feature, right? But it's great because you got such a good insight. And every manual hack in a technology startup is always a potential feature in your technology, right? So I would say just like, for me, I would have just moved faster and rolled out a really bad product and then just like iterated on it more.
I think for us, we're still a bit too young to actually tell you the changes that we've made, which ones were successful and which ones weren't. I can share with you the changes that we made and the difference in the direction that we took. It's just that it hasn't taken effect long enough for me to be able to tell you which ones worked or not. But early on, so our mission really is to help anyone who wants to be a designer create their product, market and sell it. And then at the start we were like, okay, we'll take any designer. We'll take any designer who produces anything. And then there were a lot of interest from fashion designers as well. A lot of people want to get into that. But then we also had a lot of furniture designer and home decor products. So then we were like, okay, well, fashion and furniture moves at a completely different speed. It's a very different market. We don't know with the two of us whether we could do the both of them well. So we had to pick one, and then we had, well, I think we were slanting a little bit more towards home decor and furniture products. So we sort of went that way, even though it's probably a slower moving product. So then, and then we started off trying to do the B2C route. So we tried to, we did the website, we tried to go straight to consumers. But then, fortunately for us, we picked up some B2B sales. So we actually had an interior design firm approach us for works from some of the furniture designers. And then we thought, oh, actually, that's actually a good idea. Like, we should really be pushing towards that way. And so we are trying hard to go that way as well. At the same time, not giving up on the B2C. So with our store, actually, at Publica, we get a little bit of traffic, people coming by B2C that way. One of the things that were quite interesting as well was that, in hindsight, we probably should have thought this through a little bit more, was that people are probably not used to buying furniture and or large items online, especially if you're new and they're not sure about the credibility. Will you be able to deliver? Will I get my money back if I don't get my stuff? So in hindsight, getting the store was actually a really good idea, but again, it wasn't. So it was sort of more like, okay, we'll just try it out and see how it goes. So we tried it out and it went quite well. So that's us for now. We'll keep you updated if you sort of, I don't know, follow us on Facebook or whatever.
If I were to outline the things that I wish I could have done it differently, this is going to be long, but I'm going to answer in two, okay? One, I wished I knew more people in various industries. I wish I knew more lawyers, more bankers, more government officials from various ministries and agencies, and a lot of others. It's because when you're an entrepreneur, right, you don't have a choice but to know everyone for every industry and every segment, right? Because most of my friends, they come into two categories. A, accountants. I don't need the accountants. I only need one, right? Or B, I know the media people, right? The media people, okay, fine. Media is a bit colorful. You have the creative department there, you have the engineers, but not. But one thing again, let me tell you something. I wish I could turn it around is to get to know people from various industries, various professions. Because when you start your own, you need to know people from various industries. B. When I started the product, right, there's a mental block basically. I think it's our first product anyway. Our first product, the green hijab, right? In the package in a box, has 3 colors, blah blah blah. How we determine the color is according to us, me and the other 3 girls, right? According to us, this is nice. But it doesn't mean that it's nice to everyone, right? So that was where I was wrong. Because after the birth of the first batch of the green hijab, let me tell you something. Well, of course, there's a lot of people like it as well. But there's a lot of people as well give opinion, and some of my clients lambasted me left, right, center, up, down. Oh, this look like school uniform lah, this one lah, that one lah, which is true, right? Because school uniforms in Malaysia is different than school uniforms in other countries. So the blue, plastic blue, reminds them of a school prefect uniform. Oops. So, two things. Let me recap. A is a network. I wish I know more people from various industries. B, I wish I was not as secretive whereby I should have gotten more customer feedback before giving birth to a product.
Alright, thanks for that. So, my next question is that, as you all know, being an entrepreneur, it's not an easy task. And my next question for you guys was, is there any particular challenge or any point in your entire journey which you guys felt like, okay, I can't do this anymore, I am giving up? Like, were there any particular moments you guys felt that way? Kartina, you seem like you have something you want to share with us.
Right. So actually, this is Design Nation is considered my second startup. After my first experience at Struck, which is a company based in London, after I graduated, I left, because I thought, oh right, I can do this. And then so I went and I started a company, and it was two of us, and I think that being my first time, it was really tough because I didn't know how to handle a lot of the emotional side of things, when things were going well or when things weren't going so well. And, being able to share that kind of burden when you feel that you're alone in this. And I think it's sort of like you get trapped. You get trapped in this circle of sort of like, not being able to get out, step back and take a look at the situation in an objective manner. And then I think for any entrepreneur, when you start out, you always give it your best, right? And the point at which you say, okay, this might not be working. Like, where is the point when you say, okay, maybe this is just not going to work, or maybe I don't have the skills to make this work, right? Maybe I should just wrap it up and move on, because you hear people say, oh, the reason why there are a lot of successful entrepreneurs out there is because they persevered, because they went through all the rough times. And you listen to that and you're like, okay, maybe I should go through this rough time, right? Maybe I can, ride this through. But then you also hear all the other entrepreneurs who were successful as well, who have gone through 4 failed startups or 5 failed startups. So I think the balancing in terms of when to give up and when to wrap things up and decide to move on is actually very difficult. I don't think I have like a solution to this, and it's probably a very personal kind of decision. I still think back at times to my start in London, that if I had the opportunity to do it again, I think I would. I made a lot of mistakes there in terms of, I did many things, like, not taking funding when people were trying to give me, angel investment, and I said like, no, we're doing well, I don't need it now. But then you learn out, people tell you, like, looking for investment, trying to raise money, it takes about six months. So you can't wait too late. And people tell you that, and you know that, but then at that moment, you're like, oh. So I think, the emotional side of thing is hard. Sorry, I rambled. Okay, that's it.
Okay. I'm still working, right? 9 to 6, so I don't know how to answer that question, but let me tell you something. To my point of view, who has a full-time job at the same time, an enterprise with the friends, right? A company with the friends, I have a very simple principle in life. Okay, a lot of you here are employees, right? Even if you are an employee, you have obligations, right? Okay, regardless of how much is your salary, by the end of the day, your job gives you headache, right? Which is true. Regardless, your salary can be 2,000 ringgit, your salary can be 8,000 ringgit, but by the end of the day, the amount of headache equals to the same, right? Same when you're an entrepreneur as well. But the reward, if you are an entrepreneur, is that it's all yours. It's different. If you ask me, is there any point that I want to give up? I think it's because of my first job. The nature of my job is I kind of like know everyone's salary, even my clients, right? Because I audit everyone's salary as well. So, having said that, from accounting to media to green technology, separate industries altogether, let me tell you something. Even if you're an employee, you earn 2,000 ringgit, or you earn 20,000 ringgit, or you own your own company, by the end of the day, you have a set of responsibilities. So, at this point, no. I always feel like, you know what, even if I give 500% as an employee, yeah, I will get commissions, whatever, not or extra bonuses, but it doesn't amount to how much potentially I can make if I own my own business. So, no.
Sure. Yeah. So I would agree with you. It is a very personal choice, and it's also a lot to do with timing and just your journey. It's very unique for everyone. But what I would describe a life as a full-time entrepreneur is really, you take a job. I call it's like a job on crack, in my opinion. Like, okay, normal jobs are like high and some lows. Everyone has highs and lows in everything you do, right? But I really feel as an entrepreneur, my highs are really high and my lows are like really low, right? Like, you feel everything. Like, if like something's just not even put properly, you're like, no, put it properly, you know? And that's because like it's like go get, right? You know? So like you care for everything, and so that's why I feel when you were saying like, okay, is there ever a point when you don't want to carry on, or you're like, so you will always continue to think, how do I continue to make this idea work? Because you're still obviously in progress, and how do I make sure that I can pay people's salary if I employ people? How do I make sure that next month is okay, right? Then all the back of your mind, you're like, in 6 months, how's this model going to look like? Am I going to make sure I have enough jobs that then, you know, pays all my go-getters, and then also go-get can survive and we can pay our employees? Like, there's so many larger questions, and then sometimes like when something small doesn't come, and you have one day where you didn't get enough jobs, you're like, oh my god, this may not work, right? And you're just thinking, okay, how do I make sure? And I go like full blast ahead trying to pump jobs and making sure like jobs come in, so that I can make sure I believe my idea can keep going. So that's why, you know, I would say to keep going through the highs and the really low lows. It's not I don't want to say you have to be passionate about it, because I think that's been used a lot, and sometimes people don't really understand what that means. You have to find something that you genuinely care, like you genuinely want to solve, right? And if you, it's not like, oh, I'm passionate about this, and it's because I like the way it looks. Like, you have to really feel for what you're building, because that will be the only thing. When you are down at the bottom and you are scraping really thin, that will keep you going. Because what keeps me thinking is like, you know, when I have a bad day in Go-Get, I think I am putting money into people's pockets. Someone is rearranging their schedule today to meet someone to get things done, and if someone wants to earn money, I'm helping them earn money, and that's the biggest thing. So a lot of people think I've created Go-Get to actually help busy people do things, but on the flip side, the bigger problem we're solving is part-time opportunities. Right? To me, it's so powerful if you can wake up and you can say, I've given someone $4,000 bucks, $5,000 right? And he can now earn. We reward people on pure hard work, right? From whatever background you are. If you want to earn money, you can come and Go-Get and you can earn money, right? And that is the cause that I wake up every day if I have a bad day. That's the one thing that I think, look, you have now hundreds of Go-Getters. How do you put money into a pocket? How do you empower them? How do you give them the opportunity to earn if they want to? And I think that's the reason why it keeps me going, even though I have really highs and lows. Yeah.
Wow, thank you guys for that. So my next question is, I'm pretty sure in the audience right here, you have like what people asked just now, there are a lot of people who are still with their current day jobs, who are looking at leaving your jobs to be entrepreneurs. So what is one good advice that you guys would impart to them before they take that big leap of faith?
Okay, got it. Actually, so I think this works quite well. So just bring it back onto what you were saying earlier about why you do. I think it's really important for you to know why you're doing what you're doing, because not just that it keeps you going, but it also makes decision making a lot easier, right? So when you have to decide which direction to do, you know, which direction to go, which feature should you push out for first, or which service should you provide first, it's always a lot easier when you know why you're doing what you're doing, because it's like it's a lot simpler sometimes. But back to I think what advice I would say, leap. I think there's no real moment when, you know, I sat around for a really long time in office doing my 9 to 9 or whatever it is, thinking about the things I want to do, and then reading the articles about all these young people doing this or someone else doing that, and then it's like really frustrating. And there really isn't anything, but I say leap, but leap with caution. Don't just quit your job without knowing what you want to do. Like, you know, how you gonna pay your bills. You know, if you're fortunate enough, then yeah, go ahead. You know, you don't have to worry about that. But if not, you make sure you know how you're gonna survive. Or, you know, for me, I thought a lot of it was, if it doesn't work, I'll go flip burgers at McDonald's. I think I'm qualified enough to flip burgers at McDonald's, so at least I can pay my bills that way. And I think also important, that is really important, and I think the difference for me that I've learned through my previous startup and this one was, at my previous startup it was a lot more stressful because it was basically it was an app, and with apps, especially software as a service, we were B2B. You don't generate as much money on the onset. And whereas with this, you know, we have good we know what we're doing, we're selling things, we have money coming in, cash flow's not a problem. You know, we can pay people, we can pay suppliers, we can pay ourselves. And I think that's the thing. But leap, but with caution. That's right.
Oh, the advice, right? Yes. Okay. I would suggest. Okay, for the reason why you are here, you probably are thinking of going to be an entrepreneur, I'm assuming, or you have an idea in the back of your mind that you're waiting for someone to like make you do it, right? So I would suggest, if you have an idea right now, you know, in your laptop, and you've written some sentences about, to just test. Like, you don't need to build anything, you can test already, right? The one way that we used to test GoGet was literally through a Google form. I sent it out to someone and I was like, hey, do you need anything? Put it up in this Google form. And it was like, what do you want? When? Where? Right? That was it. They click submit and it comes into a Google Sheet. And then I created a WhatsApp chat with like person A with my go-getter and me in the WhatsApp chat. And I was like, go, do the job, right? I didn't build anything. I used technologies that already existed, right? And I just like wanted to learn things, right? That's the best thing, because the moment you start doing, you learn insights, you get better at it, and then you can really push your idea. The moment it's still on paper, it's really hard for you to push it. So even if it's like, you want to start your bakery, just bake something. Ask someone to eat it, do they like it, right? Or like, if you want to do a shoe company, design something, right? Even if it's drawing it on a piece of paper, like, would you like this? Like, do you think you want to buy it? I think just getting it out, getting input fast will really help take your ideas from, you know, paper level or your document into something that is much more physical. And that is already a huge step that will help take you that first chapter.
I do, right? Because I'm still earning. But anyway, to answer your question, okay, my day as an employee is numbered, but I don't have the number when I want to quit. Because number one, it really depends on what is the nature of your business. In cloth business, right, our primary target market, our customers are the government, the B2G first, then only come the B2B. My B2C is actually an ancillary income and to just create a buzz to my product, because when consumers do it, they will blast it, whatever not, you know, through social media, whatever not. So I get the free publicity, but my bulk of the business goes to G and B. So to answer your question, yes, we have two people, my partners, right, Nurul and Sarah, they are full-time, but we did have discussions. Susie, you need to quit your job because you're running head, left, right, center, right? Like, you know, you don't have enough sleep, and you know, soon enough you're going to be taking unpaid leave, blah, blah, which is true. But the rationale behind that is that I need to weigh that back with what can my current job give value to my business. Like I told you just now, I am heading the business development team and branding for a business newspaper and an international newspaper. So the opportunity for me to network and bring value and learn from my employment to my business is huge, right? Because one, the media people know the news first. We know what's going to be announced. We don't have a choice, but we need to know people. And at the same time, heading a business development team for a business newspaper you need to come up with strategies. So I adopt whatever strategies that I chart for Malaysia Reserve and also International Youth Time for Malaysia for my business. So while I get paid, I can contribute my right and wrong that I adopted for my employment to my business. So to answer your question, not yet. The days are numbered, but I don't know what's the number. There's no definitive answer.
Alright. Oh, I dropped this. Alright. So thank you for that. It was really insightful, like hearing all of that just now. So my next question is. Happy belated International Women's Day, you guys. So this was the surprise Ari mentioned just now. So we have chocolates for everyone, like guys and girls and children.
I just have to say something though. You get a chocolate, you get a chocolate, you get a chocolate, everybody gets a chocolate! And yeah, these are the go-getters, guys! Go get the mine! Hi, we like some chocolates. So yeah, happy belated International Women's Day to all. But last but not least, hold on, drum roll, guys. Can you just like, hold on. More. Dude, what are you doing? Alright, and a bit of a surprise for you guys. I am just like, here you go.
Hi, we are from Colgate, and this is how we roll. Like what I just said. Hi, we are from Colgate, and this is how we roll.
Yeah, so that was a short surprise, so
Can I? Oh, I just want to say, like, I was so surprised. I had no idea you guys were coming. Thank you. Yeah, these are our top go-getters. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the surprise. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright, so back to business. Sorry, just cheer.
We have a very fun community.
Okay.
We should all become go-getters.
There's a really funny story behind why we decided to use GoGet. Because in our team, there's only 4 people, and all 4 of us here are working today, so we couldn't get extra hands to do stuff. Thus, we got GoGet. Alright. Next up, the next question I'd like to ask you guys is that, in your entire working career, be it as an employee or as an entrepreneur, were there any moments where you felt that you were left out of certain career opportunities just because you were a woman? And if so, how did you address that? Would anyone like to start?
Very natural. Actually, mine's quite simple now. I don't think I have ever. I think it's probably a very fortunate thing. So, yeah.
Definitely, yes. I feel that being a woman, especially a Malay woman in this country, especially when you come in a skirt and you don't wear hijab, I'm very honest about my opinion, right? Like, I'm a Malaysian, like, I'm a one racial lady. I can tell you something. Having an opinion sometimes goes against you, right? A lot of times I felt that just because I am 5'2", I'm not, I'm not a guy, right? I feel that they take my ideas, but they make it into their ideas, and then they present it, oh yeah, that's their idea. And men do that a lot, especially in media. Because in media, it's your ideas that make or break, right? So how do I deal with it? I learned my hard way. Okay, for instance, like presentations, right? Okay, usually when I am presenting, when there's a bunch of men, right? Especially Malay men, they will belittle you first. There's something that I learned, alright? Okay, I went to a multicultural school and everything, so there's Indians and Chinese and my best friends throughout my life. But, again, like I told you, when I deal with the government level, I got the shock of my life. Am I wrong in the wrong man, wrong gender, or what? Why do I deserve this? So along the way, let me tell you something, it's all about wisdom and experience, right? All you need to do is to understand where they're coming from. They have a lot of male ego hormones, yes. So just smile, listen to them a little, you'll be okay. It's just about getting the hang of it and how to manage people. Don't be emotional about it, it's their hormones.
Okay. I would speak about an experience I had in corporate life. So let's just talk about I guess your question really derives on, is there any natural biasness that happens just by the way you are? Okay. It doesn't have to be just female or male, like because I was a female, was I treated differently? Could be if I'm young, could I be treated differently than a senior person? So, Boston Consulting Group is a management consulting firm in America, but I worked in the Australian office for a year. And when I did work in Australia, the industry that makes Australia go around is actually mining, right? So imagine if you're working in a mining industry, you are a female, tick. I'm Asian, tick. And I look really young, right? I still look really young. Yeah, like I still can be called like 18, which is so bad. And I used to be in meetings where everyone, I'm not even exaggerating, I was the only female. I was the only one younger than 50, right? And everyone else was 50 and above. And everyone was like big men because they're like part of the mining industry, so they're really actually like big Australian white dudes. So when you come in as like a consultant and you're trying to tell them what to do, it's really hard when the odds are already against you. They don't want you to tell them what to do. What more, you're also like a 5-year-old kid to their eyes, and you're Asian and you're female. So when I first went in, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard to hold a meeting. It was hard to get their attention. It was hard for them to believe what I needed to say, right? Because also, you don't belong in the industry. They have done the industry for 20 years. I was there for like 20 minutes, right? What I believe is a great way to overcome these things is just genuine credibility and time. So I just kept going into the meetings. It was a weekly meeting, and I kept stepping in, and I would keep making sure if they ask me a question, I can genuinely answer with a proper answer, and I would not give you a fake answer, right? I would actually genuinely say, hey, I did my research, I stayed up all night, I've read this, and this is actually what we should be doing, because I've read this, right? So when you bring, and you do it consistently, right? You can't break that barrier through one-off. You will break it as you do it 10 times, and then the guy will go, oh, Fran has actually added value after 5 meetings. She actually has a point, and she's not lying, and bullshitting, but like a better word, sorry. She's actually giving real answers that has genuine thought behind it. So for me, it was building that gradually, time, consistency, doing your research, just working. And then after that, it's as if I was like a 50-year-old male that was like from Australia in that meeting. They would listen to me, which is great. And then it was really good after that, and it doesn't matter if I walked in with a skirt, or it doesn't matter if I had black hair. It was because I had proven over time and again that I can answer your questions properly.
Alright, thanks for that. So my last question before we conclude the panel and open the floor up for Q&A is that women are often said to be playing multiple roles, like you're being a daughter, you're being a mom, and right now you're being an entrepreneur. So how do some of you guys juggle these kind of roles, and what were some of the personal compromises that you guys had to make? Susie, you seem like you have something.
Drama will always happen and continue to happen in life, right? Right, you can never stop drama, right? You know, when you're a student, you're the drama, there's as a son or daughter, you're drama. So my answer to you is very simple. A, know your KPI. In the space of being an employee, as a daughter, as a friend, as a girlfriend, as a wife, you need to know your roles, right? Because as a daughter, your KPI is different. What is expected from you is different. As an employee is different. And you only have 24, like you wish you had 48, so you just have to know yourself. Like, you can't please everyone, right? You can't please everyone. So you need to know what is important for you, right? And then most importantly, don't overthink. Women's problem is that we like to overthink and put things into microscope, right? Until the cell, you will think about it. 5 months later, you still talk about the same topic. So, which is true, right? Men know, like 3 days later, really, you see that. So, I try to be a man that way, like forget about it. Did you see that? Oh, really? Okay, fine, whatever. Yeah. So that's how I segregate my time. I need to know what is expected from the various clusters of people that I have in my life. Thereafter, yeah, I need to know myself. It's the best thing.
Okay. How to balance life, right?
I don't think I have figured this out yet, to be very honest. I am trying to make sure I can balance more, and I really think it will be a continuous battle that we will continuously face. I don't think it will get easier. I battle every day to see what time I sleep, make sure I call my loved ones properly and I mean on time, and then at the same time make sure I answer to my teammates and reply all their emails on time. Make sure I spend time also thinking about the future, because I have to be 5 steps ahead of the team. And it is hard. I will probably kid you if I said I figured out how to have an awesome work-life balance. What I have just learned, I guess, from the process was sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I step back and I literally sit down and list all the things I have to do, and I just take the top 3. I say, I cannot be efficient. I need to be effective at this point, right? Because sometimes, as you go up a ladder of like where you work, right, from the bottom to like management, it has a trade-off when it's really important to be efficient and when it's really important to be effective. As management, sometimes it's actually more important for you to be effective than efficient, and then when you're at the very bottom, when you're just filing, it's really good for you to be efficient, not as effective yet, right? Because by you being efficient, you are effective at that point. So I just sit down and think which items is it really important for me to be effective in, and then I just do those first. And I just acknowledge that some things I just can't do in that day, and I try my best to just outsource and delegate as often as I can. The other thing is I do one trick, which is I schedule in my personal time as a meeting. So I know this is weird, but like gym is in my calendar. Right? It's like, and it's treated like a meeting. So if someone wants to move my gym session, I'm like, whoa, 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 I have an appointment. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I do. You know, and they're like, can you move it? I'm like, oh, I don't really want to. Right? But the fact that you have that trade-off and you actually have it in your schedule, then it helps you at least think, okay, I'm going to actively deprioritize gym, right? So I do put it actually in my calendar as a blockout time. So I would suggest those two tricks. But I am still figuring it out because I still don't feed that often or as much as I want to. I don't get everything I want done in the same day, but I still survive.
So I think I'm going to draw back again to my experience. I think that one thing you have to realize is that you can't be working on your startup all the time. You can't do it 24 hours because you need to sleep, you need downtime, and actually, in fact, downtime I find is actually quite good because sometimes you know when your mind's not preoccupied, you actually come up with some really good ideas, and then of course you need to eat and all that kind of stuff. I think one of the good things one of the good techniques you guys can try to use is basically a time management technique, which is to list down all the things you need to do and you put them on an axis that, it's a quadrant, 4 quadrants. It's important and urgent. So whatever's not important, non-urgent, like watching TV and going to the movies or whatever it is, you can just cross that out if you don't have time for it. And then you rearrange things. Important and urgent is obviously on the priority number 1, and then there's a technique, like if you solve what's within the important section before it gets to important and urgent, then that's great because then you won't things won't go crazy. But yeah, that's something that you guys have to sort of look up and try using. I think that theoretically it's a lot easier to do than actually to practice it. The not important and not urgent is the easiest because TV, who has time for that now? Makes my life so sad. But yes, and yeah, I think realizing that you really need a good balance. Like you do need downtime. You need, if you died tomorrow, would you have liked that the last 3 months or last year of your life has been spent only on your startup and not with your loved ones or doing something that that might be outside of work? So I think that's a very important question that I ask myself. Yes.
Alright. Thanks for that. I actually learned a lot from that last bit there. Alright, so before we actually open up the floor for questions and answers, which I'm pretty sure you guys have a lot of questions for, I would like to invite someone from CareerScope to come on stage to give a short presentation.
Hi, I'm Hannes. I have 2 businesses. One is CareerScope, which is a recruitment agency. I also have an events company, but today we are going to focus on our virtual assistants scope, which comes under CareerScope. We'll play a video so you'll be familiar
This
with
is
what
the
we do.
Wong family. Mr. and Mrs. Wong share an online business together selling bags. She creates beautiful bags and he does the sales and marketing. The business was easy enough to handle on their own for a year. As more orders came in, Mr. and Mrs. Wong found themselves losing track of invoices and receipts. They responded late to clients' emails. They started to feel overwhelmed. Then Mr. Wong had a light bulb moment. He remembered his friend, Anita, mentioning about a virtual assistant she had hired to help with her own business. Virtual assistants can help you with daily tasks at a fraction of the price you would have to pay for a full-time staff. You will save money. Avoid doing the boring tasks you hate doing yourself, and you will have more time to focus on growing your business. By hiring a virtual assistant, the Wong family now have a more successful business and a happy family. You can be like them too.
So that's what we do. I'm sure most of us are busy business people, and unlike what you're offering, the daily tasks, we actually help with marketing and accounting and all that. So you focus on your business, you create your product, and we'll do the rest for you. So if you have any questions, do contact us there. We have also put out our email addresses on the post-it board outside. Right? Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much for that. So now we are opening the floor for questions, for Q&A. Wow, so many questions all at one time. Hold on. My lovely assistant will be helping you guys shortly.
Cool. So my name is Ola. Nice meeting you girls. So I have two questions. One is to the presenter, and the second one is to ladies. So I was actually wondering, because you were asking last question about how do ladies cope with the different roles, and I'm kind of interested in gender. That's my major of my studies, my master's degree already. I was wondering, would you ever ask this kind of question to a guy? Because it never happens. No one ever asks guys how they cope being fathers, being sons, being brothers, being entrepreneurs at the same time, or businessmen, and all that stuff. And I was wondering, why do we even have this kind of question? And sitting back here, I was kind of puzzled and didn't have that. So maybe you could just answer. And by the way, these are ladies, so we don't call them guys. Thank you. But I'm still curious, why did you even ask them the question? Because I believe that you were genuinely interested in the answer. And I would like to wonder, I'm also not coming from your culture, but I really wonder, why do we ask this kind of questions?
Okay, yes. Wow, I think I really need some cold water for that burn, but just saying. Okay, the main reason why we've included that particular question into the list of panel was that we just wanted to find out what the girls think, because for the guys, for myself included, it's very easy to make time because you just forget about a lot of things which you're supposed to do, like watering plants and things like that, because we just don't pay that much attention to detail. I'm sorry, I feel I'm going to get so much burned.
Psychologically, it's proven that there is no difference whatsoever in your brain.
Guys, I think I need more.
So I would just like to ask you for a favor, so next time you have any kind of space like that, can you keep asking guys the same question? Because maybe I believe that we're just not talking about that. And I love my father, and my father is an entrepreneur, and he had to make all things working, and being a father and being a son and being an entrepreneur. So we very often maybe we just forget about us guys, how do they make it? We're just all the time focused that maybe women have to do all that stuff and men don't. I don't think it's fair. So maybe if you just, don't stop burning now, but just ask next time, guys, how they cope with that, and maybe we just put a bit of light on this responsibility as well. Because I believe that, having families and being responsible and both.
I think I'll give you a little bit of, I don't know if it's going to help, but I think that actually you make a very interesting point. And in fact, when I read the question and I was answering the question just now, I wasn't even thinking too much, sorry. And I think a lot of that is culturally, we're just being, it's just like people's assumption that, for women, there's a lot more to do, like your main priority is the family and all that. And actually, in fact, I think that's actually not just in Malaysia or in Southeast Asia or wherever, because in the Western culture as well, it's a very big deal. It's a very common topic, and I think that people are just so used to this idea that women have a lot more to and so I don't blame you for such questions. And what is it? Sheryl Sandberg wrote like a book, right, about how she balances, and she's a very big I don't know what's the word to describe, but she speaks a lot about this as well, about how she balances her life.
She's a feminist.
Yes. Right. So yes. So it's cool. No, it's not cool. It's sorry. I rephrase. It's not cool, but it's sort of okay.
This is genuinely a real truthful answer. I have been on a panel with, we were talking about women's, it was for Shell, and it was for their Miri office, and they flew in women entrepreneurs, but interestingly enough, they had a woman entrepreneur, they had a father, they had a stay-at-home wife, and then they had a male manager, and this was a panel for female issues. And that question was asked to all of us actually. And the guy asked the father, like, how do you balance your time? Asked the manager, which was a guy, how do you balance your time? So to be not only singling you out as a panel questionnaire guy. Like other people do ask this to guys, so it's not so bad, right? And it is fair. It just so happened today it's all females, right? But the second thing though, I think we just gotta be fair on society's progress, which I think you do have a good point. There is stigma in terms of females being seen as like having to juggle more because they are doing other domestic things that they should be, right? And I think that's just a social it's not entirely social construct, it's both also biologically, because we do actually give birth, and we spend 9 months actually having a baby in us, and then eventually we actually have to do something that a male does not ever have to do. So fundamentally, there is some time in life where we will have to sacrifice a little bit more, right? So there is almost an inherent biasness in the way we're made up. But I'm going so like into this, I'm really sorry, right? But I want to actually draw your attention on the evolution of, I guess, society, right? So if you look at it, okay, on Sunday, India's Daughter, the most controversial movie recently that everyone's talking about, you compare it to a society where females are treated really differently to this society. And females heroes are treated very differently to the Americans, and culturally it's all different. And I think it just speaks testament that we all are evolving throughout, and everyone has different maturity stages in the society, right? And asking questions like that helps because rather for you pointing that we are living a stigma, I think it's good if you look at it in view that we are, how are we proving that we can progress positively, right? How can I prove to you that today I can do my job and also be, I'm not married, but let's say I'm a wife, right? And if I can stand here in front of you, it will help the next few ladies say that they can do it, and that will cause society progress. So, example, like that example I said, I was the only female that was under 50 years old that was in a boardroom. The next time those individuals see another consultant, maybe from Asia, they're not going to be like, oh my god, this girl doesn't really know anything. They're at least going to be like a little bit more patient because they know Francesca was here last 3 months, she gave a good job, right? Touch wood, right? And then it helps his perception of females. So by us at least doing what we do, you asking these questions, it helps perception of females, and then society progresses through that, bit by bit.
So don't get me wrong, it's not I don't want to ask this kind of question. I'm just saying that I see the point that people are not asking it to the other half of society, and I believe half of society is quite a significant number. But anyway, my second question to many of you ladies is that what do you think is very similar to the first one? What do you think stops women, and what could empower them to become to get to, let's say, the same level of representation when it comes to, let's say, workforce or especially business, and when it comes to these higher positions or being an entrepreneur? Because even though it's a global trend that even though there's more women in the workforce, we somehow stop on the level of middle manager, and then we hit the last selling. And that's always very interesting. I mean, that's always been very interesting for me, and we would like to know your opinion. What stops currently, and what can we do in order to empower? Thank you.
I think to answer that question, we need to have a glance what happened 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago. Let's go flashback. 100 years ago, right? Okay, women were treated differently. 90s, you see a proliferation and also the little graph of respect that women have gained, you see. To be fair, sometimes when we complain the fact that, it's just, it's unjust for women because, we're always like the second and third class, but please remember, even for technology, there's evolution. So this evolution, women empowerment, right? So please remember, while we feel that sometimes, of course, I'm no different than you guys. Like I told you just now, especially in Malay government meeting, I really have a big problem, yeah? With Malay men, yes. They like to belittle women, right? So that's a culture. However, moving forward, number one is that we need to continue this effort whereby we need to feature these leading ladies. We need to surface icons, more and more icons from various industries, various causes, various things that they do, unveil it to the public, right? And inspire them, and then moving forward, yes, you will gain respect, to my point of view. But like I said just now, please remember history. 100 years ago, women status in the society were really, really, really different, yeah, but many, many thousand %. So yeah, so we need to unveil all the icons.
This is a question that in BCG we ask a lot as well. I mean, and I've some thoughts on this because in BCG when you enter as a fresh graduate, it's like 50-50. In the class, it's like 50% girls, 50% guys. Cool. But then when you go up to your next level, you get promoted. And the time you hit manager, it drops. It drops about 30%. At partner, it's like 10%, right? So it's actually really low. Like you said, there's a glass ceiling. That's what they mean by glass ceiling. That there's almost this place where people just never move up from. And we've asked this question a lot in BCG because BCG always does a lot of like initiatives. How do we keep females? How do we keep females? Fundamentally, when they did a study, they said most people that drop out in management role is because that's when they decided to have babies. And when they wanted to go have babies, it was how do we let them go have babies, but also come back, right? And it's that whole transition to go away and come back. And I think it's to help continue to bring the females back, right? And then eventually break through the ceiling. It's a societal effort. Your company has to know they are willing to give you leave, and then when you want to take care of your kid for 2 months after that, you can, and then you can come back and make sure they structure programs for you to come back, for you to also keep performing and then get marked and then still get hired, right? In terms of the individual as a female, you also have to take the effort to figure out how do I structure it so that after 2 months of giving birth, it is sustainable for me to go away from 9 to 5 and my baby is okay. And you have to either find a maid or you have to do a daycare, right? On the husband side, he has to figure out, okay, how do I make sure that my kid or the family gets what they need when the female has to go away as well and work. So it's almost a society effort, I feel, that everyone has to come and play a role in. Because that glass ceiling typically occurs because they go off, or for BCG, they went off to have babies and then they couldn't come back and they decided to just stay on and do other things that was less taxing. So I really think it's just more of a societal effort.
My question is a bit more logistical and practical. I'm more interested in hearing your insight, and maybe all three of you have insight in this, but from what I've been, in some of my research, I've heard that the Malaysian government has put a huge push in starting a business easy. And I'd be interested to hear your experience in like your startup in London and like the logistics, and if it was very difficult for you to start a business there comparatively to here.
Yeah, so actually that's a very good question. To do it in London, actually all you do is you go online and then you go to a website and you register for a company, and they immediately it's maybe a 15-minute process, and then they give you like a piece of paper that says, you've registered, here's your company number, and you also have to tell them, of course, who owns how many shares. But it's as simple as that. It's a 15-minute, at most a half an hour kind of process to set up a company a legit company, obviously. And you use that documentation, whatever. And then you file your taxes, your income, revenues voluntarily. So, at the end of the year, if you've not generated any revenue, you just, again, online, you just submit like, 000 or however much, and then you go on to do the other thing. Here, I actually didn't do the process myself. So, but as far as I'm aware, you have to go and then you have to sign papers. It takes 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks, I believe, for them to get you something, and you have to go in person as well for any changes. So you can't really do much online. So it's just a lot simpler. I mean, but I would think that the way they do it in the UK is almost on the extreme end of simplicity and convenience. But yeah, that's as much as why, does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
no, that's very interesting. And what about, how was your experience starting your own business?
So I guess, do you mean getting it off the ground?
Yeah,
Or do
getting
you mean
off the ground, just,
registering
like,
it?
Making it kind of formalized as a business, like through, like you have to register and
Okay.
and that was difficult.
Yeah, no, actually, so it is relatively easy to do that in Malaysia. You can just go to SSM and register. And actually, I would say, yeah, it is quite easy to set up a business in Malaysia, registering it, filing for taxes, etc. For us, yeah, you just have different, so how much capital you put in depends on how much you get categorized at, yeah. So for us, it was quite easy to just register.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy. That's okay.
I would like to add in one more thing. Yes, while the dress registration and all was smooth sailing for us as well for cloth. However, there were some areas that I wish that it can be better. Let me tell you a story in which I find it really, really ridiculous. Okay? My company, we call it Cloth, KLOTH. So the company, when we submit our name, right, for the Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia, or you call it Registrar of Companies, right? So they rejected the name. They said that it's ambiguous. I mean, okay, what do you mean by ambiguity? Oh well, you need to let us know what is your nature of business. That should be reflected in the name of the company. Meaning what you mean? Are you a manufacturer? Are you a producer? Are you a trading? So meaning, are you trying to tell me, so I ambush the ROC's office in KL Central, which is neighbor, right? I went with my partner. So I had a debate for a good 2 hours. I said, you want me to incorporate this business at this point in time, I come up with the ideation and I sell it. So what if one day I want to become a producer and transform this into technology? Does it mean that I need to have 2 companies just to reflect 2 businesses that I want to do? So while the registration online, whatever not is smooth, however, I beg to differ. There are some human errors here and there that I wish it could have been better. Yeah, that is my honest answer as a Malaysian, without citing anyone.
Good evening, ladies. Thank you for sharing. As an entrepreneur myself, I can totally relate your journey, your ups and downs. So my question is, will it be possible for the 3 of you to share about your marketing strategies? What have worked, what have not worked? I would just love to hear about it. Thank you.
So, I think a lot of it depends on the nature of business. When I was in London, the startup that I was doing was B2B. So actually a lot of my background is B2B. The thing about B2B that's quite easy is you can easily identify who's your customer, right? Who could be a potential customer. Unlike what we're doing right now, we're trying to sell furniture, home decor products, which happens to be a very time-sensitive thing. You know, not everyone's always looking for a sofa or looking for a chair or, some whatever it is. And people don't have tags. I complain about this quite a lot. I wish people walking by would have tags saying like, I'm looking for furniture or I'm looking for home decor products, pillows, whatever, because you don't know. Like, how do you take this huge pool of people and then try and identify these people who might be potential customers? So I think with the B2B, it was very simple. It was just sales and sales calls. And one of the things that people tell you is that sales is pretty much a numbers game. So you call 100 people, and so your success rate might be like 5 to 100, for example. So all you do is you call 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 3,000 people, just to try and hit numbers. And then it's a little bit harder at the start when people don't know much about you. But then if you get the ball rolling and sort of people, oh yeah, someone else, or when you land a deal and you go like, oh, you can start name dropping, like these guys are using us as well, or we've recently done a deal with so and so. So I think B2B is slightly more straightforward. With B2C, I think I'm quite new at this actually. It's my first time attempting B2C, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around how. So if anyone has any magical solutions, I would love to hear it. So I mean, right now we're trying everything online. The thing is to know the success rate of, as well as the performance of your campaigns. So I used to come from online marketing, so you look at conversion rates, or you look at click-through rates, or if you're hitting 1 million people, but then only only like 0.1% people are clicking through, then maybe there's something wrong with your ad. Actually, that's 0.1 is about right. 0.1 is about right online. 0.5 is really good. And then it depends also on which kind of channels, or whether it's search marketing, or whether it's online advertising. So you have your industry standard that you can compare to, and then it's a matter. The way we do it is we pool aside money. So we say like, okay, I'm going to spend 1,000 ringgit here on this channel. I'm going to spend 1,000 ringgit here and here and here, and then we'll see which one performs best. Because at the end of the day, for us, I think we're still figuring out which channel works best. Where best to find these people. There are forums, for example, as well, which are completely free. Laoyat, for example, we try. No success stories there yet, but we try. So that's what we're trying to do right now. We haven't yet found like the gold mine at the moment. But yes, I hope that helps. I would like magical solutions. Just to emphasize.
How we advertise GoGet is really unique because I can't market it like a normal product. Because if I tell you I have a go-getter in an app, that means nothing to you, right? Like, what is a go-getter? Like my taxi, they can say I have taxis in an app. You can call it taxi. Taxis have existed all your life. You know what a taxi is. You've seen a taxi. It's easy, right? And for us, a go-getter has never existed really in your eyes. So this concept of someone helping pick up something for you, and you're gonna pay them, and this person can be anywhere, and could be a student. It's still really unique. So the way we market it, we call it outcomes marketing, right? Which is something that we do to get people to feel the outcome of GoGet job. An outcome of GoGet job is when you actually get to feel how it is when someone brings something to you. So the major way that we market is we will partner with local businesses in the area that we roll out in, and we will say, okay, well, there's one massive day where we promo like 100 free ice creams. Anyone who goes on the app, you call for an ice cream, you will get it delivered to you. That way, it's actually for you to touch and feel, for you to experience. How does it feel like for me to use the app? How does it feel like for somebody to come to me? And then the aha moment happens there for us. And the rate of return on investment for that is much higher, because every single cent I spent was someone actually using my platform. As opposed to spending money on a billboard, that person didn't use my platform, and I don't think anyone, like 1% would use my platform, right? The other thing that we do that's really different is quality marketing. I call it quality marketing, because the way GoGet works is we're a marketplace. So if you think about marketplaces in the world, that's Airbnb, that's Uber, that's eBay, that's all those marketplaces, right? They work because they have liquidity. They work because they have a lot of users. Liquidity means that when you go on your platform, you want to get whatever you need, whether it's a accommodation or whether it's an Uber, you can get it, right? If you every time you go in, you can't get what you want, that means you haven't hit liquidity. We haven't hit liquidity because we don't have thousands of go-getters yet, right? And we don't have thousands of posters yet. You need both sides for this equation to work. So if we can't win on quantity, we win on quality. And as long as you have a really good go-get job, the chances of you telling it to another friend is huge. So majority of people who come to go-get is word of mouth, really word of mouth. You guys, I barely think you guys have ever seen even our logos or how it looks like. It's really underground almost. It's all through Facebook, it's all through Instagram, it's all through our marketing with our partnerships. It's really different marketing, yeah.
I'm gonna have to be honest, right? So my employment, right, for the past many years, my job is to promote TV programs, right? So let me tell you something. I have been responsible to promote programs that's supposed to be a hit, but only a few thousand people watched. Even though we've organized press conferences, we've organized media briefings, we bring the celebrities everywhere, blah, 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 blah. So regardless of that, and then also for news, for instance, right? I used to work for Astra Awani. I was heading the brand department for Astra Awani and also Rapid Enhancement. Let me tell you something. There are certain programs that, TV programs Astra Awani, for instance, that I plan for pre, during, post program, right? I plan through and through, like I told you. I may garner 10,000 viewers. There are certain programs, I did minimal effort. But I have garnered hundreds of millions of viewers. You can read hundreds of marketing books. I have, right? You read about this person, autobiography, biography, blah, 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 blah. But the truth of the matter about marketing, from the thousands of mistakes that I've done throughout the years, even if now I'm still doing mistakes at my job now, marketing, if you ask me what is marketing, is a mix of everything plus luck. And it's a concerted effort, but the blast should be at the right time, at the right place, to the right people. Okay, coming back to the business. Have we done something good or something impactful? Okay, when we started the business, one of the buy-in for myself that I wanted to start cloth is because, right, the Malaysian government was about to announce the Green Master Plan, which was announced in the Malaysian budget 2012, which was reflected how much was the amount in Malaysian budget. But of course, I cut by half whatever is reported in the Malaysian budget. Okay, you don't know, maybe it's just a report. However, let me tell you something again. To answer your question about marketing, that has been my job for the past many years. I'm accountable, responsible for a lot of advertising money that I've thrown. I bought billboards throughout my life. I bought travelators. I bought print ads. I bought TV, of course, we cross-promote, whatever not. You can do a lot of advertising, whatever not. You can. But, like I said again, it's luck as well. You need to know your market as well. Sometimes, even if you know your market, but it's at the wrong time, it won't happen, you know. So, it's a science. And it's fate as well. And I'm sure if you ask a lot of other people as well, who has done it with so many mistakes like I did, the answer is maybe overlapping what I said. You can only plan, but an effective campaign is an ingredient and it's a combination of many, many factors. Buying one billboard at BSC at the price of, I can tell you, for 6 months, approximately around 400,000, that doesn't promise you into ROI, into money. You can have 2 million people on Instagram, but if only genuine people, it's only 100,000 and half of them don't have money, how? Right? So, been there, done that. Let me tell you something again. It's a consolidation of many things and concerted effort at the right place, at the right time.
So we have time for one last question.
Thank you. So I have 2 questions. What advice? Sorry. What advice do you have to young students that want to be an entrepreneur someday?
What advice do you have for a young student?
If you ask me, never ever start being an entrepreneur without working for people first. You need to have the experience, you need to have the knowledge. Most importantly, you need to have the confidence. You may have the knowledge, you may have everything, but if you don't have the confidence, you fail, right? And you need to have the wisdom. So my advice to you is, please work for people, change many, many departments. And don't stay in finance department for the rest of your life until 100 years. Please change department. If you can change job, why not? You don't have to have your friend tell you, right? Why you change job every 2 years? It's not their problem, it's your problem, yeah? Learn. After that, network. After that, start your own business. Without all that, you will fail.
I think on the point of work experience, one of the things that might be useful is getting work experience at a startup. If you want to be, if you know that you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to start something, then try and get experience there, because the environment at startups or at small companies are actually very, very different from corporate environment. It's not the same. Depending again on, I suppose depending on the startup itself or the company itself, it can be extremely intense. Everyone's got to be on their toes all the time. You've got to know what's going on. But one of the great things and the reason why I love working at small companies or doing startups is that everyone can directly contribute to the success and the direction of the company. So you feel, direct fulfillment to the things that you do, and you also learn a lot. You always know what's going on, because if you're in a room with like 5, 6 people only, you know what the sales guy is doing, you know what the ops guy is doing, you know what the tech guy is doing, and then you can just absorb by sitting around and listening to their conversations. How does the sales guy make his sales calls? There are all these techniques that if you're not, you don't have to go to classes, or you don't have to watch tutorials. You can just sit around and just absorb. So I think getting work experience is actually really, really good. But yeah, that's all I have.
I would caution people on just the idea of, I just want to make sure that people don't think it's really cool to start up, right? I think that's really important because there's a whole trend of like, oh, it's so cool, I really want to build my startup, it's so easy, I can just start a Facebook page and I can, And I just want to say it is hard. It is really hard, and just don't underestimate it. Make sure you know what you're getting into. It is really, really hard. But having said that, so my main advice is ask the right questions. When you're thinking of starting up, are you asking, okay, I really want to build a directory of doctors around the area. Why? Like, why is that your idea? Is it because people just can't find doctors online? Or actually, no, it's very easy for me to Google. The issue was people would always call doctors, but they couldn't get an appointment until a month later. Then it's like, well, then the solution actually should be something about how can I get an appointment today? Right, so always just make sure you know what you're answering, and to do that, just ask a lot of good questions. Ask the right questions, ask why, and hopefully you get to firm up like your thinking by asking the right questions. I hope that helps. I don't hope that, I really hope that. I don't know,
So the second question is a yes or no question. Can I have a picture with 3 of you, because I want to let my mom know what I'm doing right now. Yes or no?
So what do you want your mom to know what you're doing right now? With 3 goals and chocolates.
Well, so it is kind of late. She wants to know where I am.
If it helps with your
Technically, I'm still underage, so yeah. Later, yeah.
Yeah, I did not see that. Well, but you can have a picture of them later if the girls are alright. So unfortunately, that is all the time we have for questions for tonight. And we're going to pass the floor back to Arif. Thank you so much for being here, Arif.